If you plan on homesteading or you plan on doing what we've done, it's not an easy objective endeavor that you're dreaming about. I own it all the way to the top of that mountain up there. I have 56 acres. It's not a large farm. It's a larger piece of property than a lot of people have. I understand that. Some people are going to buy maybe 4 or 5 acres. Some people are going to buy 1 acre and start their homestead, and I suggest starting small. Our farm may be 56 acres, but I still only have about 11 acres that are cleared, that are grass lands. The rest is all forest, which the forest itself gives me trees that I can cut for lumber, timber, and it also gives me plenty of firewood. And so I'll never run out of a heat source and a lumber source because it will grow faster than I can cut it down, as many as I have. It's also, if things get tough and I need to depend on foraging, we have plenty of wild mushrooms here, from chanterelles to morels to lion's mane to Ganoderma lucidium, reishi type mushrooms. We have turkey tail. We have all types of mushrooms here, but we also have walnuts, black walnuts. They're wild through our forest. We have hundreds of black walnut trees growing throughout the forest here. So I could survive off the land. Even if I were hunting, I could survive off the land here. It took me 1/3 of my life to pay this off, so I didn't have debt on it. It's one thing to say you buy a piece of land. It's another thing to say that you and the bank own it. If you're going to be independent, and that's the whole point of homesteading, is you need to be as debt-free as possible. That way you can survive, and that way no one can take something away from you. I'm not telling you not to go in debt. I'm not telling you not to use the bank's money as a loan to buy a piece of property. You may do like I did when I bought this property. I was going to go to the bank and get the loan and pay this property pay for this property to the guy that was selling it. And as I was walking the property with him up on the mountain, he looked over at me and he says, "Jeff," he says, I said, "I know you're planning on going to the bank and getting a loan for the property here, but I'd rather you not do that. I'd rather be the bank." And I had never done that before. It was an owner financing scenario where he agreed and he wanted me to. It wasn't that I had wanted to do that. I didn't really have a comfortable feeling about it because I had never done it before. And I had many loans that I had done through the bank over the years. So this was a new thing for me, owner financing. So I put a deposit down. It was a sizable deposit on the property here. And I paid him so much per month. The agreement was done in the attorney's office, a closing, just like it was if it was a bank. And then when I finalized it and paid it off, it was the same thing. I met at the attorney's office and got it completed. So if you're planning on buying a piece of property, number one, never overextend yourself where you're going to lose it. Number one. Number two, try to get it paid off as quickly as you possibly can so that you own it, not the bank. Or even if you owner finance through someone that you're buying it from and they agree to owner finance it, pay it off as soon as you possibly can. Because you got to remember, when you're owner financed, it's not like you can just decide to cut off a small portion of it and say, well, I paid this much on it. I paid 25% of it off, so I'm going to cut 25% of it out of the loan. The whole amount of the property stands good for the loan, even if you only owe one more payment, whether it's the bank or whether it's owner financing. So you need to get it paid off as quickly as you possibly can, because you never know what could happen tomorrow. With the economy like it is and with everything happening like it is in the world, if you pay it off, it's not you and a bank, and it's not you and the financier, it's you. And then you only owe the taxes on that property every year, and you should be able to manage that. So that's the first thing that I did before I invested too much money into the property I invested some, like with the lake, the dock, a barn, shell for my cabin. Let's put a septic tank in and some other things throughout the farm here, and invested on dressing it up as much as possible. But once I got it paid off, I started doing more things. When I paid this property off, that last payment, which I paid a lump sum payment to pay it off, I remember coming here. I was by myself. I came here with the deed, and I built a campfire at the head of the lake. Got a campsite at the foot of the lake, head of the lake. And I built a campfire in the rock ring, sat down in one of the chairs, propped my feet up on the rock, and I cried because I realized that I sacrificed close to 18 years of my life paying for this piece of property that I could leave to my kids one day. This year in 2023 has not been the easiest for us here at the Welch Family Homestead. And there's been times when I was like, oh my goodness, what did we get into? What did I get into? If you're going to build a homestead and you're going to do things on this scale, you need to realize it's a lot of work. It takes investment. It takes getting up and moving every day, being active whether you feel like it or not, because that's what farming is about. When we see the things that are happening in the grocery stores, where a lot of your groceries are anywhere from 30, 40, 50, sometimes double, 100%, maybe 200% more than what they were 3 years ago. And it usually says bioengineered ingredients on the label. Now it's pathetic. And if 2023 has been a tough year for you, it has for us too. There's no reason or rhyme in being untruthful here, just to have pomp and circumstance around every video that we do. Some videos that we do don't need just to be talking about everything that's going positive. Sometimes things don't go right. And the reason is because we're putting so much into the farm, getting very, very little out of it, because this is a new venture for us to develop and to create. But also, this is not my only job. I had the job as being a CEO of a company. They got behind on things, especially paying, and I had patience. I didn't bail on the company. I stayed in there. I stayed loyal to the scenario, but eventually I resigned in May. And so this is November, almost December. You're looking at between May and now, I have not had any income coming in from business when it comes to being CEO or being an executive in a company. Will I take another position in a company? Yes, probably, maybe, considering it. My passion is here on the farm. My passion is here with you on YouTube and to build this. And I appreciate you helping me build the channel, helping to get the word out about Welch Family Homestead, and that we can not just make videos, but bring value to what you're watching. I hope that will be us and you having a place together that we're actually creating harmony in a learning environment that is centered on God. That's one thing that we don't leave behind, is we don't leave God on a shelf somewhere. Oh, if you're in the direct sales business, I just got a challenge for you. I want you to think about this. You may have an upline, or you may have an organizational leader in your team that has told you not to talk about God, not to talk about your Christian faith, not to talk about your beliefs. You may also have people tell you the same thing if you're building a YouTube channel. And if you look in the history of it, the largest teams and largest organizations, whether it be Bill Britt or Dexter Yeager or Warren Woodward or some of those that have built some of the largest organizations in the history of direct sales, and you can look at companies like Nu Skin and Herbalife and Amway and Young Living, New Ways. You can see so many different companies that built legacy level sized companies into the billions of dollars in revenue per year. Their largest organizations, period, were built out of the Bible Belt, And every one of those leaders that led those organizations led with Jesus, led with God, and had prayer before their meetings and put God first. They didn't have any question about whether or not it was what to do or what not to do. They had a lifestyle, and that lifestyle around their Christian walk came first. Everything else followed. I've got news for you. When they tell you to turn it down, turn it up. And there's no one who can network better than people who are church people. They have naturally been networking for 2,000 years, building organization, one of the largest organizations in the world, around a culture of putting God first. And you can't build any better than that. Even Jesus himself said, go out 2 by 2s. He said, go into Jerusalem and into Judea and into Samaria and then into the uttermost parts of the world. Go into your back door first, and eventually you will reach the world. The Bible, in my opinion, is the greatest leadership book that has ever been written. The majority of the Bible is written about people just like me and you. That's one of the beautiful things about our walk in faith with Jesus Christ, is the fact that we're different than a lot of beliefs out there, because we're based on the fact that you don't have to be perfect to love God. And you don't have to be perfect for God to love you. Listen, we're all going to struggle. We either struggle because we don't try, or we struggle on our way up. We struggle on our way to get there, or we struggle because we didn't try. Which are you going to be? I'm going to be the one that struggles to get to that place of accomplishment. I'm not going to be the one who struggles because he just sits down and quits. We all struggle. Make your choice of what struggle you so choose to live. God bless you. This is Jeff Welch from the Welch Family Homestead.